All right, we're looking at the inside of the stone grinder, and we are replacing the bearings on the tracking wheel. The tracking wheel mounts right in here, and in order to remove the tracking wheel, there are two screws right down here that have been pulled out. They just go through there and it drops off of this side. To remove the other side, you can see we've opened the door on the back side, and then the mount for the tracking adjustment we remove from the back wall, and remove the what do you call them, the little jam nuts that are on the end of this, which is going right down through here, and then we just use the handle up top, this handle, and just keep cranking it and backing it out until it comes all the way out of the hole, and then the entire tracking wheel will come right out. It's probably a good idea when we replace this to scrape out this the bottom of this trough, and wire brush it and then paint it, which is what we've done here, because it builds up so much rust. All right, so this is the tracking wheel. We've been unable to remove the part that's near the door. We're hoping that we can avoid removing this bolt right here, because we can't get it out. And what I've done is, this is the side where the tracking adjustment comes through. Let's see if we can focus. So the tracking adjustment is this little brass piece on the end, and you take off the little E-clips on the ends, and then we're using the hydraulic press to press that brass piece out. I've got it partially out right now. If you just put a 9/16 inch socket, a deep socket over this end, and then put a small socket over this end and put it in the press, you'll be able to press the darn thing all the way out. So here's the brass piece we just drove out of this with the press. One thing we're gonna, I think, want to make sure, I did not double check, but it's gonna be the correct orientation that this goes in, because it probably has some reference to what's going on over here. So you'll want to check the orientation that this was in there beforehand, and probably put it back in the same orientation, and we'll look at the machine on our time. Now the next problem is these bearings. The shaft that they're on is not a precision shaft, so the way they work is they have eccentric collars. This is an eccentric collar. There are two Allen heads here. You have to loosen the Allen heads and then somehow find a way to unbind those eccentrics. So you're going to have to turn one of these about a quarter of a turn. So we'll show you that once we get it apart. But this is a bit of a bear, I recall. We've grabbed, is it recording?
Recording.
We've grabbed one of the new bearings just so we can look at it, and this is the locking collar we have to remove now. And it just spins on here and binds against the shaft. The Allen key, there's only one Allen wrench, and the other is just a hole to lever on. And this is taking a 3/16?
Yes.
3/16 Allen wrench is what you need to get this off of here. So it's going to be a bit of a chore. We've been picking out the Allen head in here, but I still can't get the Allen key in there. So you're going to have to work at it pretty hard. All right, hit the record button again, the red button. Okay, so we could not get the collar off, so we used a grinder here, and we've cut a slot in it. We're going to see if we can split it with the air hammer. Yeah, it looks like I ground into the shaft a little bit. Hopefully that's not a problem. Okay. Rolling? Yeah. Okay, so we gave up on trying to get this other one off with the tools and just cut the collar, and now we've actually cut the bearing on both sides, and we're about to try and knock it off. So it's split here, split there. Hopefully we can just air chisel it off and get the whole thing out of here. actually moving. We may be able to move it down the shaft now. This is in here loose. You can turn it off now. I think that shows the... okay. In order to get the scale off of the shaft so we can slide the bearing over the entire thing, we're just lightly grinding it over here. So that looks pretty good. Now we have a little spot here. The bearings all the way out of, okay, we got the bearings all the way out of here and off the shaft, so we're ready to replace everything. What we're going to do to start with is just grab the bearing and we're going to press them into the roller first. Then we can slide the shaft through and lock our collars on each end. That way we can guarantee that the shaft is centered on there and we're not guessing on the positioning. So you should find a little aluminum collar that we've made over here for pressing these bearings on. They typically sit on the arbor press. Obviously they could move over time, but right now that's where they are. So this is just a collar that allows us to press on this outer race here when we press it in. All right.